Hey, what's up everybody? Dr. Sis here. So today I want to tell you a story about when I came this close to pooping my pants while taking my ACT. And it's like, well, why would I tell you this story? Because I help explain one of the many reasons why I am such a big foodie. Why it's so important to me to teach people about proper foods, because it is so massively important and undervalued. All right, so travel back in time with me. I remember it vividly. I'm taking the math section of the ACT. And if you remember the ACT, if you've taken it, it's like lockdown, right? You got proctors, you can't leave the room for nothing. And unfortunately for me, digestive issues were a common part of my childhood and early adult life. I always had it. It's all I ever knew, and I thought it was normal, really. So anyhow, I'm taking my ACT, and I got the gas and the bloat and the diarrhea that I often had, and I'm like miserable. I'm rocking back and forth and doing everything I can not to poop myself. I didn't even say anything. And one of the women comes up and she's like, honey or son or something. She's like, do you need to use the restroom? I was like, you have no idea. And she walked me down the hallway to use the restroom, right? Because I didn't even have to say anything. So I suffered through this all through my early years, right? Another example of this, now I think about it, I was at a wrestling tournament in high school. I'll never forget this. I was in the bleachers, and I was this close to asking someone to take me to hospital. I was in so much freaking pain. And I used to describe it as like someone took an ice pick and they jabbed at my side and just twisted around all over, right? And then I also used to snore really bad. I had terrible, my sinuses, I could never breathe. I was just always congested. And I was on inhalers, so I could never get a full deep breath. It was I would try and breathe in and it would just get stuck halfway. I could never get air into my lungs, right? And in college, at school, I would always sit in the back corner, because in case if I gotta go, I gotta go, and so I could sneak out of the room and run to the bathroom quick. And this was just part of my life, right? And then I got into grad school, and I started learning more about food and nutrition, how nutrition literally has an impact on every single cell in our body, and how what we eat can affect everything. And I started learning about dairy and grains and all this stuff, and started learning about all the negatives of dairy. And I was grew up on a dairy farm, so it was a really hard change for me to make. But as I was reading, I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta cut this out. And it was like magic. When I cut dairy and grains and certain foods from my diet, my snoring went away. I haven't had digestive issues in forever. It just doesn't exist anymore. I could breathe deeply. I feel so much better. I remember too, I love contact sports. I always used to play as much as I could. Rugby, football, wrestling, wherever I could hit somebody and not get in trouble, I was a big fan of it. The problem with that is you get some injuries. I've had 7 orthopedic surgeries. I think it's 7. And if I eat really well, I feel amazing. I feel so good. If I don't, I ache, I hurt, I'm stiff, I feel old. I feel old if I don't eat clean, all right? So one of the main reasons I'm so big into food, because it has such a huge impact on so much more than just weight gain and weight loss, right? I lived it. If you looked at me in my teens, early 20s, I was ripped. I had 6-pack abs. I was good at sports. I looked healthy, but I was far from healthy, right? I was suffering a lot. So here are some things that I just want you to think about, and why this is so important to me. So think about this. The enamel on your teeth is the hardest surface in your body. Certain foods cause that to rot. Literally, certain foods cause a cascade of events that causes your teeth to decay. You talk to dentists, and they say it's not uncommon to pull the teeth, every single tooth of teenagers. Think about that. So do you think these foods that cause the hardest surface in your body to rot might be damaging other tissues in your body? Right? You can't just brush that stuff off your joints and your organs. Do you think maybe it could cause damage to your joints, and why so many people are achy and stiff and swollen and feel old? Right? Digestive issues. Anyone with digestive issues. IBS is so common, right? Digestive issues are so common, and people would do what I used to do. Dumb things like reach for antacids or acid blockers or Tums, instead of looking at the foods that are damaging our insides. Do you think the foods that can cause your enamel to rot can damage the cells in your digestive system and cause pain and dysfunction? Absolutely. your immune system. Garbage foods are terrible for your immune system. Sugary drinks, refined grains, the stuff we feed our kids on a consistent basis, terrible for the immune system. So I get asked, like, why are kids sick all the time? Well, look at the school lunches they get. Look at the school breakfast they get. Look at the snacks we give them. Look at the sugary drinks we give them. It's like, it's no wonder why they're sick all the time, because we're constantly suppressing our immune system with these toxic foods. And it's not that I think, I know we just don't understand how important food is for literally everything. Any sort of skin condition, any acne, eczema, psoriasis, the first thing you should look at is diet. Amber, my wife's a great example. If she has any dairy, her chin breaks out. We call them chimples. Like, I've had so many people where they come to me, it's always coming for the same reason, for weight loss, but it's like, oh my gosh, my acne is like gone. What happened? It's like, because it's the food causing these skin conditions. Your brain, massively, you have neurons in your gut, like serotonin, right? The depression, 95% of that is in your gut. Your gut is direct wired to your brain. What you eat has a massive impact on motivation, on your mood, on depressive symptoms, on how you think. I have had so many people, again, they come for weight loss, and it's like, oh my gosh, my brain fog is gone. I just think so much clearer, right? Autoimmune conditions. And like any and if you don't know, if you have an autoimmune condition, you know what you are. But I've had people with Crohn's, for years of Crohn's, gone. Hashimoto's, gone. IBS, gone. Rheumatoid arthritis, people that suffer from rheumatoid arthritis spend so much money, and it was the food causing all these symptoms. Another thing to think about is nutrient absorption, right? So it doesn't matter what nutrients you eat, it matters what you absorb, right? If you eat it and don't absorb it, it does you no good. So certain common foods that we eat are like grains that have phytic acids, and they pull the calcium and iron and magnesium, they pull things from your body or block the absorption of it. So you're getting a whole bunch of bad stuff and anti-nutrients, plus you're not absorbing the good stuff, and that leads to other conditions. Another one to think about is like little babies with colic. I am convinced a lot of colic is because we're giving them cow's milk or certain foods that gives them digestive pain. And they have no way to tell you, it's like, hey, my stomach hurts. They just scream and scream and scream, right? So for me, because it's kind of funny how things work. So like the suffering I went through for many, many years as a child, it was like a huge blessing in disguise, because it just taught me how important good food is, right? And when I see obesity, and it's, to me, it's not like aesthetics, like, oh my God, they just look overweight. It's a sign that their body is going through a hell of a lot more damage than just the excess fat or energy they're holding on to, right? So when I see like obese kids around, it's like, oh my gosh, what else are they suffering from? Right? What kind of digestive pain? What kind of joint issues? What's their thought process like? It's just so much more to it than that. So that's why my eating plan is all about optimizing health, right? So the biggest thing with what I live and the way I teach to eat, and the thing that makes more sense to me is the question I ask, right? So the wrong question is, what should I eat, or what should I take, or what should I do to lose weight? If that's the question, there's a lot of dumb options out there. There's weight loss injections, there's crazy surgeries, there's calorie counting, there's macro counting. Does any of that stuff make sense for a kid? Any of it? No, of course not. What makes sense for a kid? Doesn't it make sense to choose the foods? And here's the question I ask. What is the optimal diet for a human? Like, what food should we be doing to maximize ours and the genetic potential of our kids, right? So when you eat to maximize health and genetic potential, fat loss is just a cool side effect. You look good, you look better as a cool side effect. The goal is to maximize health and performance and try to reach our genetic potential. Right, so hopefully, I just want to explain like my thought process on nutrition, food, and where I'm coming from, right? It's a lot more than just weight loss, weight gain to me.